President, please be seated. The court is back in session, and I give the floor to the International Deputy Co-Prosecutor to continue putting questions to the witness.
Thank you, Mr. President. First, let me just respond to the inquiry that was made by Q-Sim Pon's counsel earlier. We did check, and indeed, as I have indicated, the civil party application of this upcoming witness that was filed in the other case is identical to the case 2 civil party application. In fact, you can see the case 2 civil party number crossed out in it. The number of the witness's civil party application in case 2 is D22/194, D22/194, and it's literally the exact same document. It's just been crossed out. So there's no additional civil party application in play. Mr. Witness, we were looking at this document listing the K office personnel, E3858, and I just had a few questions for you about the section of people who worked for K3. On the first page, and I've highlighted some of this, you'll see under K3 it begins with a group of 4 people who worked as guards for Uncle Number 2. Those 4 people named Tung, Sot, Dan, and Ran, followed by 3 people who worked as guards for Brother Van, the alias for Ing Suri, then followed by 3 people who worked as guards for Brother Hem, the alias for Q-Sim Pon. Those 3 named Torn, Hun, and Sun. My first question, do you remember, did you know any of these people who worked as guards for Noon Chea, Ing Suri, or Q-Sim Pon?
Yes, I knew all the names. But they were not guards at K1.
And do you remember what was your understanding of where they were located, these people who were guards for Noon Chea, Ing Suri, and Q-Sim Pon?
At K1, there were guards whose name listed here, like Tang, Sin, Lang, and the names listed here at K3, they were not guards at K1.
Okay, thank you. The last name I wanted to ask you about, after the list of guards for Brother Hem, there is also a list of guards for Brother Vorn, and then there is a list of 15 names. If you turn to the second page in Khmer of the document, if you turn to the second page, number 1 listed for K3 is a person named Sami, identified as chairperson of Office K3, and someone who was an ethnic Jurai. Do you remember, did you know this person, Sami?
ឈ្មោះនេះខ្ញុំអត់ស្គាល់ទេ
No, I was not familiar with this name.
You stated earlier this morning that you saw zone secretaries come to visit K1, and I'm finished with the document now, so you can put it aside. You said this morning that you saw zone secretaries come to visit K1. Which zone secretaries do you remember seeing at K1?
I said the zone committee, not zone secretaries. They came to work at K1, and they came to work based on the invitation by Pol Pot.
And the zone committees that you saw, specifically which people do you remember who came to work at K1 from the zone committees?
The zone committees who came to work included Thuch, Uncle Pok from the southwest, Tamok, and Sao Phum.
You referred to Tooch. Who was Tooch, and what happened to him during the Democratic Kampuchea regime?
To my knowledge, he was the North Zone Committee, but I did not know what happened to him.
Was Tooch also known as Khoi Tun?
I did not know about his other names.
And do you remember Tooch being under house arrest at K1 for a period of time in 1976?
I did not know.
You identified Sao Phim and Tamok as two of the other people, zone committees who you saw at K1. How did you know Sao Phim and Tamok?
Generally speaking, people knew the zone committees. So people at the site knew them. They came to work there.
Let me ask you about some names of other zone committee leaders and see if you remember them. Did you know Ruth Nim, the Secretary of the Northwest Zone Committee, and did you ever see Nim at K1?
No, I never saw him.
Did you know a person named Ya, who was the Secretary of the Northeast Zone, and did you ever see him at K1?
No, I did not know him.
Let me go back to something I started to ask you about earlier. Did your responsibilities at K1 include working as a messenger who would deliver letters from K1 to the zones?
Talking about my messenger responsibility, I did not take letters often. I took letters to Sao Phum only 3 times. And as for other zones, I never took letters there.
Do you know who it was that normally would deliver the letters to the zones? Was it other people who worked at K1? Was it people who worked at the zone messenger the messenger office located in Phnom Penh? Do you know who normally would deliver letters to the zones?
I did not know clearly about that. Regarding the delivering of letters to zones. But for me, I delivered the letters to Sao Phum, and I think it was perhaps an important affairs. And because I knew Sao Phum, and that's why I was trusted to deliver letters to him.
Who was it that gave you the letters to deliver to Sao Phum? Who were these letters from?
I did not know who were the authors of the letters because the letters were sealed, but it was Pol Pot who gave me the letters to be delivered.
And when you delivered these letters that were given to you personally by Pol Pot, did you deliver them personally to Sao Phum when you got to the East Zone?
Yes, that is correct.
Let me just ask you one more thing about your delivering letters. In your OCIJ statement, E3462 at Khmer 00204-025, English 00223-564, French 00491-960. You're describing your assignments taking letters from K1 to the zones. And you said, let me quote you, Pol Pot personally gave them to me to take to the zones, like to Kai Pak and Tooch. In addition, you also identified, as you testified, taking letters to Sao Pim. My question to you is, does this refresh your memory? In addition to Sao Pim, were there occasions where you delivered letters to either Tooch or to Kai Pak?
No, I delivered letters to only Sao Pim, who was the zone committee. I never delivered letters to the others two individuals you mentioned.
And in regards to your delivery of letters to Sao Pim, was this something that took place early in the regime, 1976, or in the middle of the regime, 1977, or towards in the last year of the regime, 1978? Do you remember roughly when it was that you were assigned to take letters to Sao Pim?
I cannot recall it clearly. It was perhaps in 1978.
One other subject I want to cover with you. Were you ever assigned to guard any of the leaders when they made trips to the zones? And if so, can you tell the court on what occasions you went with any leaders on trips to the zones?
I escorted leaders to the zone, but I escorted only Pol Pot. He went to inspect the dam construction site.
Do you remember which dams or which areas you went to with Pol Pot when he inspected these dam sites?